I want to welcome everyone to this McGraw-Hill Education webinar, Create a Safe, Kind, and Engaging School Climate Where All Students Can Thrive. I'm Annalie Cairns with McGraw-Hill Education and will be the webinar moderator for today's session. Joining us today is Jill McManigal, co-founder and executive director of Kids for Peace, Carrie Rubel, education program manager for the Random Acts of Kindness Foundation, and Daisy Lopez, the Marketing and School Support Manager at the National School Climate Center.
Hello, everyone. This is Jill McManigal. I am the co-founder and executive director of Kids for Peace, which is home to the Great Kindness Challenge. We're so delighted to have you all listening and learning about how to create a safe, kind, and engaging school climate at your school. And we're delighted to be presenting with our co-presenters at Random Acts of Kindness Foundation and the National School Climate Center. It's very important for us to collaborate. One of the tenets of being a kind organization is all working together. So we're delighted to be able to join together, join hands, and collaborate. For our agenda for the webinar, we're going to be going over first some of the science of kindness. We want you to understand that there's a lot of studies and solid support of why we should put the energy and time and resources behind creating a kind school environment. And then we'll pass it over to the National School Climate, and they're going to talk about how to understand and measure your own school environment. Random Acts of Kindness Foundation will share their year-round kindness curriculum, which is fantastic. And then we'll take it back at the Great Kindness Challenge and share with you our 1 week initiative, which unites and ignites your school. And then we'll have some questions, and then it'll be time to go out and be kind with each other. So we want to start out with some of the science behind kindness. We're going to go over briefly what all this science is, but then you are invited to the Random Acts of Kindness Foundation website. They have a fantastic resource for all the different studies that we're talking about. But basically, kindness, studies show, creates happiness, it's contagious, it increases well-being, popularity, and peer acceptance among students, it supports academic success, and it leads to life success. So clearly, these are all qualities that we want to implement and support our students. So you're doing good things for being here to learn about kindness. And with that, we want to pass it over to Daisy with the National School Climate Center. We understand that we must first understand and measure where we are so we know where we need to go. So Daisy, take it away.
Great. Thank you so much, Joe, for that warm introduction, and for Annalie as well earlier. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to be part of this webinar. I really do appreciate the opportunity to share this space with Kids for Peace. The Random Acts of Kindness, I think we are all doing amazing work in the field, and it's really important to celebrate that work together. So before I dive into the piece about measuring your school environment, I just wanted to quickly go over a few things about the National School Climate Center so you have a little bit of background just to build that foundation. Okay. So about NSCC, we were founded in 1996, and it was really formed in response to the need for social-emotional support in schools. So we all know academic success is critical to student lifelong achievement, and yes, that will always be critical, but there's also a need to really support students in the field of social-emotional support. So having supportive adults in the building, feeling safe, feeling engaged, just knowing that you have a safe space to go to each day, and also appreciating the staff and families in that process as well. So it was really founded in response to that need in the field. So our experience is with state departments of education, schools and districts nationwide, we'll get into that in a moment, as well as international education ministries. So we really are doing amazing work across a number of different types of school climate work. In addition to that, in 2006, co-founded the National School Climate Council, which is supportive of our work, and key leaders in education are really leading that effort just to continue this process of providing policy and guidance to the field. And I just wanted to mention at the bottom, the Learn More section, our website is really a great resource. So today we'll provide you with a couple of snippets of measuring your school climate, but I encourage you to visit our website just to learn more about not only measuring your school climate, but gaining access to practice briefs, the rest of our research, and just any information that you could really need for the school climate work that you're doing in your environment. So just to frame school climate, which many of you already answered how you're measuring this, the formal definition here, the norms and values, social interactions, organizational structures experienced by students, staff, and parents. So I think the most important points here, the ones that I highlighted, the norms and values, it really speaks to how each person in the community is understanding school climate. So it's not just a student in the building or a specific school personnel member, but really having all three populations experience that school environment. Each person is perceiving their school environment and feeling about the values and interactions that are happening in the building. So just to go back to some of the data that we've collected over the years and the partnerships that we've been a part of, one, the Ohio Department of Education, we've done research, and of course I think this is pretty well known to everybody, but our research showed that a strong correlation between school climate and academics. So again, the academic portion of it will never go away. That's of course critical. But part of that success is really connected to student support in the emotional way, the social emotional way. It holds for both low and high poverty schools. So this is not something that's really isolated to one specific setting, but it's really an asset to any type of school and any type of community. It applies to middle school and high school, and even stronger for graduation rates. So we found, again, that this is across the board. It has a ton of impact, and it really does have strong reach for graduation rates, attendance rates, just overall success for students, for the entire community as well. So just going back to school climate, if the actual definition is a little hard and formal to absorb, it really does come down to what does your school environment look like, feel like, and sound like. So I think we all remember a time in our own experience as being in a community and thinking, I really love going to school. I have a supportive adult. I feel like I'm learning what I need to do. I feel like this is just a really great place to be. And again, that really expands beyond students and goes to staff members and parents as well. So this is a partnership, and we're all coming together to really have a great experience together. Okay. So just switching gears a little bit to talk about specifically the measurement part of it. From the poll, it's great that everybody's having a specific way that they're measuring their school climate, whether it be a formal assessment or just observing what's happening in your school community. All these things are equally important. So we wanted to remember to, before thinking about approaching school climate, it's really important to have a shared definition of what it means. So again, there is a formal definition, but every school community has a way that they really want to approach this work. And so what that means is really the most important step and the first step, just so that everybody's on the same page of how to move forward. So again, the benefits of doing an assessment, because school climate is about students, staff, and parents, and the experience and values and norms, we are really gaining insight into all three population groups, so having everybody have that opportunity to voice their opinions and feedback. Clarifies the terms and aids collaboration. So if you have one solid way of looking at school climate, it really does provide an easy way and a flexible way to have something concrete to speak about and to look back later and see how far you've come and progressed. And so it's a basis for good measurement and assessment. So it's a process, not an event. So it's not one thing. It's everybody coming together and thinking about, how do we move forward and what have we done so far to do that. So just speaking a little bit more specifically about assessment, for the National School Climate Center, we have our comprehensive school climate inventory, and if that's too much, we've shortened it to the CSCI. It's an easy way to remember it. So specifically the CSCI, when thinking about school climate, it was developed in 2002. So it measures how critical groups, students, staff, and parents perceive the climate for learning. And it was evaluated by 3 independent survey development experts. So 2 words here that are key: reliable and valid. So it's a way for really getting that honest and good feedback from all 3 groups. You can see the 3 recent studies here confirm the strengths. And to make it easier, the section Learn More is our CSCI specific section. So there you'll find sample reports, more fact sheets, so a ton of good information there. Easily on our website to do that and to download. And of course, you'll have contact information if you have any questions about that. But that's a really easy way to get that information. Okay. And just to give you a little bit more insight into our impact, because we do believe every single voice counts, and sometimes this work with, it can be easy to get lost, I think, and to feel that your voice isn't heard. And so our goal is really to provide that communication that, yes, every single voice does count, everybody is heard, and this is a way of, really showing that impact and really showing that each person is important and critical to this work. So over the last 12 plus years, we've garnered the voices of 500,000 students, 85,000 staff members, and then 450,000 families, which I think is critical because families, of course, are outside of the school building, and I think that disconnect sometimes can really impact that school experience. So it's really important that we have all three population groups represented. And we've done that across 1,200 schools nationwide. So that's across many different types of school settings, population groups. So that number is growing, and we are excited to see where that goes because I think it's really important work just to get that insight and impact from people. Insight and voice. Okay. The 13 dimensions of school climate, and this is a lot to absorb, I know. So it is actually one of your handouts for download, and I just wanted to briefly go over this because this is actually what's represented in the CSCI. So there are questions associated with each of these dimensions. So just a quick overview. For us, we represent school climate in terms of safety, teaching and learning, relationships, the environment, social media, as well as two staff dimensions, leadership and professional relationships. So we really believe that these dimensions from the research and work that we've done in the field over the years, that each is critical to really representing the experience had by students, staff, and parents. So it speaks to the safety that you feel inside your school community, the support that you feel from adults, as well as your learning experience, the environment, how you relate well to other students and adults, and what that looks like. It's affected by different experiences you're having. Okay. Just to go a little deeper into the features and benefits, I won't go too much into this because it is on the website, but I wanted to give you a broad overview of what it is. So again, it provides you a portrait of strengths and needs. So I think many times we only think about needs and challenges and what's wrong instead of what's right. So it provides both to give you, the positive side of it as well, to see what you can use to strengthen areas of challenge. Again, it gives you that deeper dive into different population groups, as well as different grades, positions, departments. So it's really digging deep into each population group to give you that perspective of individuals across a school setting. It's a graphic representation of findings, so it's not just this bulky report that you're receiving at the end giving you all these stats. It's a number of different findings represented in a number of different ways because we all absorb information in a different way. And it measures the core populations of students, staff, and parents, as well as English and Spanish language links. Because again, every voice counts, and we want to make sure that we give people the opportunity to do that as well. And for the administration portion of it, it's the opportunity to do paper or online, as well as guided support from the NSCC team. So it's not just a process that you're going through, it's a process where you're supported throughout the entire administration, and then also given follow-up guidance of how to actually incorporate this work into your school community. And again, just to make it easier to do that portion of it, of administration, it's functional on multiple platforms, so iPad, on your phone, desktop, whatever works and whatever is easiest. And of course, different levels of reporting. So if you're working in an individual school setting, it works in that way, but of course, district-wide, trend reporting, customization options. So all those things are really available to help you do the school climate work. And I just wanted to take you through this one quote. We've worked with this district in Nettle Creek, has done this work for a few years. They're actually continuing to work with us. And they had a really great team working together across the district to dig deeper into the findings. And what they found was that it was a pretty intense process, but they found it really helpful with the CSCI just to learn more about each population group and coming together as a leadership team. Those photos there are actually from our school. Well, I took the school climate surveys from one of our schools that we worked with this past year for the students, just to get them excited and really just to get them excited about the whole process, that they were part of this initiative and their voices were heard. So that was good for them. Okay. And then just to close us off, some schools maybe are not ready at the moment for a deeper dive into school climate using a formal assessment. So here at the National School Climate Center, we've put together a readiness assessment self-study tool. And so this is something that I think is helpful as a pre-CSCI tool. You don't need to use it as pre-CSCI tools, but it's helpful if you're thinking about going down this path of doing an assessment, or you're not sure of how to get started, but you'd like some direction of what to do and how to process all the information for school climate. So the assessment really goes through the domains that shape the planning and preparation. So it's really a checklist, or it's an assessment thinking about different domains that help you think about where you are in this process of forming a leadership team, thinking about if you have the resources ready to start a school improvement process. Is your team on the same page? Do you have a similar vision? So it's really giving you those important prompts so you can start thinking about what do we need to do to really get started for this process? Are we where we need to be? And if we're not, what else can we do to really develop that process? So again, this is a free tool that's available, and if you'd like to learn more about this or just need additional guidance about this or anything from this presentation, contact information is below. Again, the resource is the website is a great resource which has a ton of information, but you know, we're happy here, of course, to guide you through that and help you shape your planning efforts in any way that feels right to you. And then I'm just going to close this off with some contact information. We hope that you stay connected to us. Again, our website is really the pathway to all that information. My contact information, and then of course, you know, follow us on Facebook, on our Twitter. We have two, one for school climate, another one for our bully prevention campaign, which also is another great resource that you're welcome to follow. It really developed from the need that we saw for the social-emotional support needed in schools. So thank you so much. This closes my session for this. Again, if you need any information, this will be available, but definitely feel free to be in contact with me or with the entire organization. Thanks so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Daisy. That was wonderful. And it's so great to know that these resources are available for schools to be able to assess and measure where they are and how their school climate is. So thank you for that. And now we'd like to turn this over to Carrie of the Random Acts of Kindness Foundation to talk about their year-round kindness curriculum. Here's Carrie.
All right. Thank you. There we go. So we are Random Acts of Kindness, a foundation that believes in spreading kindness throughout schools, community, and homes. We believe in the power of kindness to change the way people see and experience the world. We are actually a privately funded nonprofit based out of Denver, Colorado, and our education piece has been around for about 4 years now. We really felt like the way that we could intentionally integrate kindness and spread kindness is through schools and through kids, and starting to shift that norm to kind behavior rather than focusing on the negative behavior that seems to be so prevalent. So as I mentioned, we've been around for about 4 years. Our resources have been downloaded over 93,000 times in 78 countries. Thanks to our benefactor, everything that we have is available online and is totally free. So they are utilized all over the place, and we've been really excited to see how much people are downloading and really looking for a shift in their classrooms and schools. So we've completed about 3 years of research in local school districts, and then we actually recently completed a randomized control trial in British Columbia on our resources. And the teachers and students that participated in our pilot schools reported an increase in a number of really positive things in their environment. So trust among staff, students, and administrators, an increase in pro-social behavior, improved classroom management and an increase in visible, kind acts and behaviors. And then teachers also identified that there was a decrease in the number of behavior referrals and suspensions and a decrease in antisocial and disruptive behaviors in their classrooms and schools. All right, so as I previously mentioned, our Kindness in the Classroom resources are completely free to download and use. We have kindergarten through high school materials that are available in English and Spanish. They are aligned to Common Core standards as well as exemplary state health standards. Each grade level has enough materials to span 36 weeks of instruction and also includes time for experiential hands-on projects. And at the heart of our foundation and really everything that we do is this kindness paradigm. And we really believe that when students participate in all 4 steps of the paradigm multiple times, it helps them to internalize kindness and engage in inspired action. So all 4 elements have been intentionally built into our lesson plans so we can provide inspiration for students through writing prompts and videos. They are empowered through intentional skill building and the lesson activities. And then we actually have them act through different lesson activities, whether that is a kindness project or it could be something like a role play where they are engaging in real life situations and getting to put those skills into action. And then the final piece is that sharing piece, and that we believe that that also happens through some intentional reflection and class discussion, as well as some other built-in opportunities to celebrate the kindness that they've been engaging in throughout the units and lessons. And so I wanted to just talk about what we also do to walk teachers and administrators and counselors through that paradigm piece. And we provide inspiration for you through our videos on our YouTube channel. We have a lot of different videos that will require tissues if you are at all a little sappy. We have hundreds and hundreds of quotes that can be used for discussion prompts. That can be used to have in the hallways to make kindness visible, not just in the classroom, but throughout the school environment. And then we also have posters that reinforce the 12 kindness concepts that we teach explicitly through our lessons. So it's creating a common vocabulary with your students, with your teachers, and making sure that they have a strong base and knowledge of what kindness actually looks like. We empower teachers through our lesson plans. You'll notice when you download them that they are scripted for you. However, we also encourage you to adapt them to your teaching style, to your time requirements or time allotment. And so while we obviously have provided a lot of information, we do encourage teachers and educators to adapt it to fit what they need and how they want to teach kindness. We also have additional resources like focusing strategies and problem-solving strategies, so things like deep breathing to help with transitions or to prepare students before tests or other times where they're struggling to concentrate. We also have a list of kindness toolkits that can be created. Normally it contains a book, some discussions, a game, and what teachers or counselors can do is actually pull students in small groups that are really struggling with a different concept, something like respect, and they can reinforce those skills in a more intentional way and in a deeper way so that they are starting to integrate those skills into their everyday behavior. And then our kindness concepts, again, are really just intentionally brought into everything that the students are asked to do.
Okay, I'm going to pause there quickly. We just had a question come in through Twitter. The question was, am I able to use these items in the classroom only, or can they be implemented school-wide?
So we have the The units and lessons are developed for classrooms, but we do also have resources and suggestions for school-wide implementation. Obviously, a best practice would be to get everybody in a building on board and on the same page. So we have school-wide steps to success that can be downloaded, and then the materials are really adaptable to fit into different environments and different times. So if an entire school is wanting to implement, then we have the materials at each grade level as well as school-wide materials that can be used to reinforce that learning throughout the school.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. So the action piece of the paradigm is using the new information that you've learned to be kinder to yourself and others. So building in the opportunities to act within the lesson plans, we provide project idea lists. So each of our units is meant to last 8 weeks, and then within those 8 weeks there is time for students to actually do that hands-on experiential piece of being kind within their classroom, within their school community, or even within the greater community outside of the school building. We also provide kindness club guides. These are really popular at the middle school and high school level, getting kids engaged in a kindness club, having different activities and events. And another thing that we've found at some schools is that rather than creating a separate club for Kindness Club, they actually take the existing clubs, things like student leadership, and start to shift the focus of their activities and events with a focus on kindness. So they start to look at the things that those kids would already be doing and see how they can focus on reinforcing kindness within those pieces. And finally, the opportunity to share is something that we feel really sets us apart. You don't ever want kids to be engaging in kind acts just because they want the recognition. However, we do also feel like kindness is something that deserves to be celebrated. And so a lot of our pilot schools participated in kindness symposiums at the end of the school year, where after they have implemented the lesson plans, they are actually at different grade levels doing things like art projects, they're writing songs, they're making little movies or doing role plays, and they get to share that in a school-wide assembly and see what everybody else has been doing and what they've learned about kindness and would like to pass along.
Okay, great. And before we move forward, we've got one more question that's come in. The question is, as part of the curriculum, have you built in parental and family involvement?
That's a great question, and I meant to answer that. We have, within every single lesson, there is a home extension activity where the students are, as the last piece of each lesson, they are taking home some information about what they've learned and engaging in a discussion with their family about what the kindness concept is that they've been focusing on for the previous weeks within their classroom. So they're really starting to share that vocabulary and share that knowledge with their families.
Great, and we've had two more questions come in. The next one is, do lessons address race, racism, environment, disabilities, LGBT families, and SES wealth?
So the lessons are not necessarily going to be specific on terms of racism or LGBT audiences. It's going to just be more about the fact of universal listening skills and acceptance and respect and responsibility and those types of things. It's not ever going to be a role play where something like that is explicitly spelled out, but it is equipping them with the skills to really build authentic relationships and build strong relationships and be respectful of people who may be different than they are.
Okay, great. That's all the questions for now.
So there are a couple of different ways that kindness in the classroom can be introduced, whether you are looking to start small with a kindness club or on our website, which is randomactsofkindness.org. We have an all resources page where you can search lists of materials where they are sortable by the kindness concepts and grade level, and this provides a list of discussion and writing prompts. There are book suggestions, there are videos, a variety of different things where it's that little dipping your toe into those materials and those concepts. And it also is useful as a supplemental resource for the implementation of lessons if you're wanting to reinforce some of those concepts more intentionally. And then we also have implementation models for K through 8 that have been developed to show what it might look like to implement throughout the entire school year. Our units are developed independently of each other, so while they are put in as Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, they can actually be taught at any point during the school year. While our lessons do build on each other, so within the unit, the lessons need to be completed sequentially. But we ask that 20 to 40 minutes are dedicated about once a week, and our teachers that have implemented the program say that prep typically takes them less than 15 minutes. I had a training last week where a teacher said she would be surprised if it took her more than 5. So we've really just intentionally laid out all of the materials, all of the resources, and everything that you need to be able to teach the lessons. And that is it for my presentation. So we have all of our resources, again, are totally free. If you go to randomactsofkindness.org, that educator page, there is the link to register and download right away. We also have a great training video that talks more about the connection between social emotional learning and the Random Acts of Kindness resources. And then we do have direct support available at the teacher help at randomactsofkindness.org. We have a great social media presence. Our Twitter page, our Facebook page has over 700,000 people on it that are just sharing really great and positive stories. And we also have a Kindness in the Classroom Facebook page where people can share the things that they're doing to integrate kindness into their classrooms and schools.
And before we proceed to the next slide, we did have one more question come through. The question is, to make an impact, do the lessons not need to at least happen over a month period? To just do one kindness activity may not make as much of an impact. What kind of duration do you find is best?
So the way that we've developed it is that it would ideally be one lesson a week for that 8-week session, and then they are really digging in deeper and doing the hands-on experiential piece at the end. So the initial instruction piece of the unit is going to be building the understanding of the definitions of the terms and the concepts and starting to apply that knowledge more intentionally to real-life examples of what is happening in their lives, in their schools, and then they get to have that experiential piece where they are going to actually be showing kindness to others. And so we find that doing that, along with capitalizing on teachable moments and providing a good model for students, is something that has resulted in a lot of really positive changes over time.
Great. We've got another question that's being asked. How widely has the kindness program been implemented successfully in low SES schools?
Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry. Oh, I see it now. Okay. So one of the challenges that we have being a free downloadable resource is that we don't necessarily know when our resources are being implemented and what types of schools are using them. However, we are in a couple of schools in Denver Public Schools that are low social economic status that are doing school-wide implementation with Fidelity once a week. We're excited to see how those turn out. One of our pilot schools was a low SES school, and they reported they were part of that research that we got back saying that those changes have been, they've been positive. Whether or not it's going to happen right away is definitely a discussion, but we do believe that with time, when you give it the time to succeed, you're going to be able to see the differences regardless of the economic status of the school.
Great, that's all for the questions. We'll proceed.
Great, thank you so much, Carrie. The Random Acts of Kindness Foundation is a tremendous gift to all of us, and we're so happy to call you our friends. So thank you for that. I hope everyone takes advantage of those fantastic year-round lesson plans that you have. We're going to jump into the Great Kindness Challenge, a one-week initiative. And before I do that, I did want to address the one attendee who asked about looking for resources for those who want to address race relations, environment, social justice, global awareness, and all. And it's not part of our presentation, but Kids for Peace, we are a chapter-based organization. So we do have curriculum that especially addresses all of those issues. So if you wanted to check that out, we welcome anyone to be part of our Kids for Peace family. So just wanted to let you know that that's available to you. And also available to you is our one-week Great Kindness Challenge. So the Great Kindness Challenge, it is a one-week initiative. We'll go to the next slide. It's a one-week initiative that's all based on a checklist of 50 kind deeds. The theory behind it is as students repeat kind act after kind act after kind act, that they'll make kindness a habit. And there's actually science that shows that we can retrain our brains to be kind. So those who aren't prone to kindness, and there's some students out there that way, they can actually retrain so that their neurons are going to fire more in the kindness sphere. So we have found that it's a delightful way to engage your entire school by using this one checklist. So it's a very, very simple concept. We have our checklist in a paper copy, and then we also have an app, which is for our middle and high school students to use, and also the elementary schools who have iPads. So the next, let me tell a little bit more about that. There is no cost also for this, so this is also a free initiative. We know that that's very important for all the schools with challenging budgets. So we'll say it again, that it is entirely free. It's a proactive, it's bully prevention. So some schools actually use this as their bully prevention program. It's super easy to implement, and it's for pre-K through high school. So it is adaptable for all ages, and it's for everybody. So now we can go on to the next slide. The Great Kindness Challenge has a beautiful history. It actually started with just 3 schools. With my children's school, I'm a former school teacher, I'm a mother, and now the executive director of Kids for Peace. So we started with 3 schools, my children and 2 of their friends' schools in 2012. And then from there, the next year, it organically spread, the word spread, and then we went to 263 schools. And those students completed 5 million acts of kindness. Then in 2014, in our 3rd year, we had 1,099 schools, over 27 million students participating. No, 27 million acts of kindness. I'll get my numbers right. And then in 2015, this last year, we had 4,128 schools, and we did over 100 million acts of kindness. So it's very organically spread because schools are telling each other about it, and it works, and it's this one big week of happy that truly transforms school culture. And this year, in 2016, our goal, coming up school year, our goal is to have 8 million students in 16,000 schools participate. And Annalie, I think we have one more bubble to show with that. Pow, there it is. So we're very hopeful that all 75% who are currently doing it will also participate, and we know that it will make your school a better place for everyone involved. So then our impact. In our 2015 Great Kindness Challenge, in our survey, we found out that 97% reported an improvement in the school climate, which we thought was astounding numbers. and 89% said that they noticed an increase in their staff morale, which, as you know, as educators, it's important to keep teachers happy also, so that we educate our students in a more joyful spirit. And we've also found from the impact is that the Great Kindness Challenge elevates school climate and it unites the community. Our studies show that it decreases bullying and increases compassion. We've had minimal behavioral referrals during the Great Kindness Challenge, and it makes kindness a habit. So it's not just the kids being kind this one week, but it carries on throughout the week, the rest of the year, and throughout their lives. So it's really easy to implement the Great Kindness Challenge. For the next slide, we know how busy everybody is. As a former educator, I know that the idea of putting one more thing on my plate was a tricky notion. So we intentionally have kept it very, very simple to implement. There's 3 easy steps. First, you just simply register your school on our website, thegreatkindnesschallenge.org, and then you get a checklist with the 50 kind acts and a toolkit. So that guides you through all the steps of making it a meaningful week. And then on the last week of January, we always do it the last week of January so you can come back from winter break and they begin the rest of the school year with this big burst of kindness. That week doesn't always work for everybody, so we welcome you to do it whenever is best for your school. But during that last week, we just invite you to get happy and create a culture of kindness on your campus.
Okay, Jill, I'm going to pause right there. We've had a few questions come in.
Okay.
The first one is, do you have resources for T-shirts that could be purchased for an entire K-8 school setting? They would like to do the Great Kindness Challenge in January and want to have T-shirts for the entire student body and staff, approximately 1,000.
Yes, we do. We have a Kindness Matters T-shirt that we sell, and we could work out a deal on that bulk rate. So yeah, at the end you'll see our contact information, so you can reach out to us. It's also on our website. We have on the Great Kindness Challenge, there's a kindness store where we have resources such as Kindness Matters bracelets, the T-shirts, download for our song. We have a Great Kindness Challenge theme song. It's pretty much it for right now. We have a couple books that we publish that's there. But if anyone who wants to do bulk rate that, we can talk to you offline about that and getting a good deal so that everybody could be decked out in their Kindness Matters shirts. That's great.
Well, I was just going to go on with the next question, so feel free to finish your answer.
I'm ready for you, Annalie.
Okay, great. We have one coming in through Twitter. Are the resources, such as the posters, downloadable, or do you mail them upon request?
Everything is downloadable, and we do not mail anything currently. That is one of the reasons we're able to keep it free. So the only expense to schools would be the printing of that checklist. So that would be the only expense that is there. We're working on expanding our merchandise. We have a lot of requests for large checklists and other posters and all. So we are still very much a grassroots nonprofit. So as demand comes, we work to increase and fulfill all the requests that are out there.
Great. And the next question, do you ask students to do any pre or post survey to measure the results from your previous slides?
So the results from the previous slide came from the participants, the ones who administered the Great Kindness Challenge. That came from them. And we are working on a long-term study, but currently that came from a post-event survey of all those who participated in the Great Kindness Challenge. Mostly adults, some students, mostly adults, mostly from school counselors, administrators, PTA, whoever implemented it at their school.
Okay, and we've had a few questions around, is the Great Kindness Challenge in January and the Random Acts of Kindness in February, are they similar or different? I think maybe if you could go into a little bit about the difference between two of those.
So they're similar in that they're each a week, and there's a lot of schools we know that take the Great Kindness Challenge checklist and do it during the Random Acts of Kindness week. So they're both weeks committed to kindness. So I would say in that sense that they are similar. And the only big difference is that the Great Kindness Challenge is all based on this actual challenge of 50 kind deeds that we challenge the students to complete all 50 kind deeds in 1 week. But it's a great, we're all about collaborating. So if it's best for students to use, for schools to use our Great Kindness Challenge checklist during the Random Acts of Kindness week, we're all up for that. Yes, and for the Great Kindness Challenge, no matter what people are doing, what schools are doing, it complements what you already have going. If you are a character count school, it complements that. Whatever your character education is, the Great Kindness Challenge can complement. And we keep it adaptable and flexible to suit your needs because no one knows your school better than you do.
Okay,
so we'll move on to, great, thank you. It's great getting all these questions. Thank you for that, we love it. So on our next slide, you'll see that we title it Simple or Elaborate. We found that some schools want to keep it super simple and only base their week on the checklist, which works really well. And if you want to keep it simple, it is simply making copies of the checklist, distributing it to all of the students in your school, and then encouraging participation. It's a very self-directed week if you choose to keep it that way. We know lots of schools have done it like that, and they said it has worked. Usually, though, what happens is they have so much fun with it, they say, okay, next year we're going to do it bigger. But we say whatever works best for your school to start wherever you are and go from there. A lot of schools who have done it over at least 1 year like to go big. And we're going to give you some examples of how they can go big. We do want to remember, though, that everything is always based on that checklist. The checklist is what makes it powerful and is one way that we engage all the students in the school, which is unusual or unique, I should say, about a lot of programs. It's hard to really find ways to engage every single student. And having that checklist as a guide, not only are they the ones doing the kindness, but they are also the ones receiving the kindness. So they get to really have the comprehensive experience of how it is to receive and to give kindness. So in going big, schools who have gone big, they have great kickoff activities, community engagement, spirit days, and school-wide service projects. And we'll show you some examples in our next slides. So in the kickoff activities, I still implement this at my kids' school. So I was at the slide here, is actually there that day, this kickoff community tunnel, the community kindness tunnel, and we had invited our firefighters and police officers and some service people. The mayor was there, some businesses are there, and they all made this great big tunnel for the entire student body to run through to start the day. And it was just a complete joy for everyone. The students, you can see the one little girl there with her little love shirt, the beaming smile. Not only was it a joyful experience, it showed the students that kindness is important, and it showed them that the community values what they're doing, and so it elevated their whole experience. So I'm a big proponent of doing a community kindness tunnel with all the schools. Another example is kickoff rallies or kickoff assemblies. So in the toolkit that we provide to you, we have some great scripts, completely scripted out. I think we have maybe 5 examples now, 5 different scripts to choose from. We keep adding new ones every year based on what we did last year. So here's some of the students at a school with their Kindness Matters signs, and the scripts, again, it's a really beautiful way to get the school fired up and just ready for the week. The next slide, we'll see that community engagement is a big part of what you can do with the Great Kindness Challenge. Here is we have proclamations. So in our toolkit, we show you how to go about getting a proclamation sample text you can use for that. And it just, again, it shows the students that what they're doing matters, and it offers that credibility and validity to the importance of their work. So the Great Kindness Challenge is a beautiful way to engage the community with proclamations and also with getting everybody involved. I know in we're based in Carlsbad, California, and Carlsbad now wants to be known as the kindest city in the world. And I think it's great if every city wants to be known as the kindest city. So they all work together to say, okay, we're going to get the police officers part of this. We're going to get our firefighters as part of this. We're going to get all of our business behind the kids, helping with incentives and all. So it's a really lovely way to bring everybody together in the spirit of kindness. The next slide is kindness stations. So and I want to, even though we have all these great pictures, I want to make sure that you know that none of this is necessary. You can keep it simple and just do the checklist. We don't want to overwhelm anybody thinking, oh my gosh, this is too much. These are all optional ways to enhance the week. Those who like to do kindness stations, they do them during recess or during breaks. The pictures here are all elementary schools. We know of middle and high schools that also do kindness stations. They'll have some of their service clubs put that on. It's just a place where the kids can come, the students can come and do different acts of kindness from the checklist. And it's also a really nice way to engage the community. We have a lot of our community volunteers that come in and they actually man the stations. And it's a really fun way to bring everybody together and give the community a meaningful way to be part of your school and see the happy part of what's going on at your schools. So the next slide, we have our spirit days. A lot of schools, this has happened, this is organically taken its own life here, that we have different spirit days that are suggested for each of the different days. In the top left corner, we have Kindness is My Superpower Day. Then we have in the top right corner, school in Arkadelphia, they did Tie One On for Kindness. And then we have a Kindness Brighten the World with Kindness Day, and they all wore neon. And we have a Crazy for Kindness Day with the hair and crazy hair. It's just another fun way to bring joy to the week, and again, to all come together in the spirit of kindness. On the next slide, you'll see that we every year we do one kind of unifying project for all the schools. This year, we're encouraging a school-wide global service project. As part of Kids for Peace, we have a school in Kenya that we support, which the school we support for uniforms and tuition and breakfast for the children, but they don't have an actual schoolhouse. So this year we're going to be raising funds called Kind Coins for Kenya to help build a school in Kenya, and we have a beautiful video that we put together that you can invite your school to be part of that, so they'll be able to see the exact children who they're going to be building a school for if they so choose. So getting the students thinking beyond themselves is also a beautiful kind of way. And then our toolkit has lots more happy ideas. Schools did kindness grams, and we do positive Post-it notes on lockers. There's a kindness meter there, so lots of happy ideas. On the next slide, you'll see that there are that the Great Kindness Challenge makes happy students. That's a big part of kindness, is having happiness. And there's lots of studies that show happy students learn better. So we are all about getting the happy students. And then the happy students also make happy staff. On our next slide, a lot of the Great Kindness Challenge checklist has different challenges that directly affect the staff themselves. So whether it be to show appreciation to your principal creatively, or offer to help your custodian, bring a flower to the secretary, thank your the cafeteria workers, it's all a way to unite the happy entire staff. And then coming to the end of my portion here, all schools who participate in the Great Kindness Challenge become kindness certified. So we have a wonderful seal and certificate that we send to all the schools who are part of that. And we are delighted to honor all schools that show the commitment to kindness. And that ends the Great Kindness Challenge portion. We do hope that you will take the challenge with us this year. We would be honored. We really want all 140,000 schools by 2020 to participate in the Great Kindness Challenge. So we hope it's you. And Annalie, I'll take it back to you with more questions if there are any more.
Yeah, we do. We have a few more questions. So for those of you still on the line, we appreciate that. So the first one is the toolkit identical to the one that was downloaded last year?
No, so we do have changes. Every year we add new ideas, and we base that on what we have seen by other schools that were successful. So there are new, and then we highlight it with a section that says new. It's a little red new button that's on there. We also send out everyone who registers every year, we send you out newsletters, and in those newsletters we have we'll send lots of different ideas that are going on there.
And then the next question is, may we include our data in a random acts of kindness campaign during the 2014-15 as a basis for continuing with the new Great Kindness Challenge?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that question.
It reads, I think it's in the sense of if they can include their school data in the 2015 Moving Forward Challenge, in addition to your data.
So every year we collect new numbers. So we start fresh on counting all the schools that are participating, and every year is a new year. So we consider every student starting fresh from no acts of kindness completed to doing the 50 acts of kindness. So we get those numbers fresh every year. So we don't add on, but we just recount them every year. If that makes, I hope I answered that question okay.
And then we've had a few questions about needing to register each year. Is that something that needs to happen?
You do not need to register each year unless you want to get the materials sent to a new person. Then you should re-register. So that way you're assured that you'll be receiving the materials. And we do have a big problem with materials actually making it through the school spams and school filters, security filters. You want to make sure that you add us as a approved contact on there. So if you've registered and haven't received anything from us, it's because your school filters are blocking you. But we want to make sure we get everything to you.
And then we had another question: can other staff or parents be on the distribution list from the same school? So basically, how does one get others on the list?
Yes, the best way for that is just to go ahead and email us, and we'll add more people, whoever you want, onto the list, and get all the information out to everybody. And our toolkit has some really great resources of how to do the planning and how to engage all of the community. We didn't have enough time to go into all of that, but the toolkit is very, very comprehensive in making it super easy for everybody.
And then just to reiterate, that toolkit is available for download on your website, correct?
It is, yes, at greatkindnesschallenge.org. And it is, once you register, you'll immediately get the checklist and the toolkit.
We had one more question pop in. Can I register one class instead of a whole school?
Yes, you may. Yes, we have several classes who do that, just register, and then usually the next year to get the whole school involved. But yes, that is okay.
And then it appears to be the last question. Are you in favor of combining the Great Kindness Challenge with our own existing county-wide events by putting possibly their own banners and posters and that kind of print collateral out into the community using your logo as a partnership?
We are all about partnerships, so please contact us and talk to us about that. But yes, we're all about partnerships. We just want everyone to be kind, so in whatever form that comes, we are happy about that.
Okay, great. I don't see any other questions. So I want to thank you all for attending the webinar today. Again, we will be sending a follow-up email with a link to the recording. Also, as you exit the webinar, you will be receiving a survey. If you wouldn't mind giving us some feedback on how to make it better for next year, we would appreciate that. Also, if you take a look at your handouts tab, we have included some handouts for download that may help with your kindness challenge coming up. And again, thank you, everyone.
Great. Thank you, everyone.